I now call upon public orator Professor Robin Mason to present the honorary graduates.
Bryn Parry and Emma Parry. A number of you in this room will already know Bryn and Emma Parry by name. If you don't know them by name, then you will certainly know of the charity that they founded in 2007, Help for Heroes, which has now raised over £115 million to support those wounded in current conflicts. The degrees that Bryn and Emma are receiving today are recognition for the dedication that they have shown, helping to transform the lives of men and women who have suffered injury in serving their country. Bryn and Emma married in 1982, while Bryn was still serving in the Royal Green Jackets. In 1985, Bryn left the army and the couple decided to move back to the UK from Australia, where Bryn had been teaching jungle warfare, to allow Bryn to pursue his dream of becoming a cartoonist and illustrator. According to Emma, Bryn's drawings weren't frankly much good at all at first, and times were initially hard. But characteristic perseverance paid off, and over the next 23 years, they built a very successful business together, with Bryn covering the artwork and Emma the operations. But they have always been keen to give something back, and so in 2007, they decided to do a sponsored bike ride for Cancer Macmillan. Having completed that successfully, Bryn vowed never to sit on a bike again. Emma decided that they should get 300 people, including themselves, to ride over 1,000 kilometres from Caen to Cannes to raise £500,000 for wounded soldiers. It was at that point that the Parrys visited Selly Oak Hospital in Birmingham. Meeting servicemen and women, some with horrific injuries, was, in their words, their epiphany. Their lives changed, and their mission became to help the blokes. That's how Bryn and Emma refer to all servicemen and women who need support. Sir Richard Dannett, then Britain's top soldier, suggested to them that they raise funds to build a swimming pool at Headley Court, a rehabilitation centre for wounded soldiers. Existing charities couldn't take on that scale of capital risk. And so it was on the 1st of October 2007, Bryn and Emma formed Help for Heroes. Through a combination of commercial canniness, brazen blagging, and sheer determination, they raised £12 million in the first year alone. Help for Heroes appeared on the front page of the Sun newspaper, a major national newspaper in the UK, within a month of the charity's launch. The £8 million Help for Heroes rehabilitation complex at Headley Court was officially opened by Prince William in June 2010. Last year, Help for Heroes raised £50 million, and by next year, we'll have enough funding to support injured servicemen and women for at least the next 14 years. Every week, more than 450 new fundraising events are logged with Help for Heroes, from a 24-hour brick lane competition in York, via a chest wax-off in Chingford, to cycling solo around the world. These are literally incredible numbers, but as Bryn and Emma always say, it's all about the blokes, the men and women who have suffered injury and need help and support. The stories of these individuals are even more incredible than the numbers that I've just given you. Let me tell you about one of them. Bryn and Emma originally met Derek in hospital. He had lost both legs in Afghanistan, had a damaged spine, and his heart had stopped on the operating table. The doctors pronounced him dead and were washing his body to be sent home when one of them happened to feel a pulse. Despite all of this, when Derek recovered, he decided he wanted to compete in the Paralympics. With the support of Battle Back, an initiative funded by Help for Heroes, Derek got back to sport. 9 days ago, on the 10th of July, it was announced that he is in the Paralympics GB squad to throw the discus in the London 2012 Games. The passion of the Parrys, their single-minded focus on supporting the injured soldier on his or her road to recovery, is remarkable. It is coupled with brilliant commercial skills, harnessing business to achieve a higher purpose. The cost has been considerable. They had to let go of their business as they became consumed by Help for Heroes. The personal toll has been significant. But many, many blokes are thankful that Bryn and Emma simply will not be deflected. Chancellor, it is my honour to present Mr. Bryn Parry and Mrs. Emma Parry for the degrees of Doctor of Laws honoris causa.
I now invite Dr. Parry to address the congregation.
Graduates, very proud parents, friends, Chancellor, and all of us wearing very funny hats. I have to confess, I have to admit that I am as nervous as I have been in the last 5 years. Not really because I have to stand up and talk, but because I'm completely out of my comfort zone. Normally, all I have to do is stand up and talk about some of the amazing people that we've met in the last 5 years. And when Emma and I received this extraordinary honor, this offer of an honor, we were very much in two minds as to whether we should accept. But we did, and we did in memory of people like Dave and Dan, and in honor of people like Alex, who are graduates of this great university, and all those others who have served our country. So we do it while we think about them. I also am standing here very conscious that you have worked, you, the graduates, have worked for your honors, and I, to be honest, don't think I have. And the good news is, this is going to be, for those business students of you, this is going to be a buy one, get one free deal, because you're only going to have to listen to me. But I'm conscious that I should say some wise words, that now I'm a doctor, I should be clever. I thought that I would write a speech, and I did. I wrote a proper speech on my iPad, and I flicked through it last night and thought, frankly, it was rubbish. And then I texted my son Tom, who graduated from here 5 years ago, virtually to the day. And I said, help, I'm a nervous wreck. And he said, well, don't try and lecture anybody. You're not a professor. They've had enough of that. Just keep it simple. As the military analogy, keep it simple, stupid. That's what he said. So what I'll do is just very, very carefully, very quite quickly, go back to what I do know about, which is the blokes, the men and women, the young men and women your age, who, in most cases, don't have a degree, and in most cases come from broken homes, they don't have proud parents, and they come from deprived areas of our country. But something makes them walk off that council estate and walk into a recruiting office and put on uniform on our behalf so that people like us don't have to fight wars. And for the first time in their lives, something makes sense. They have a reason to get out of bed in the morning, and they have fellowship, and they have a team, and they have love, they have friendship. And they do a job they believe in. And then one day, they leave the patrol base, carrying 150 pounds of weight, knowing that there's perhaps a chance that they risk everything, and they disappear in a brown cloud of smoke, or they're hit by a bullet, and their life changes forever. And when it does, they don't have the skills that you have to fall back on. They're back to where they were before, but this time they're there without legs. And when Emma and I met some of these guys, about 35 of them back in the summer of 2007, it was the most humbling experience, I think, of our lives. And Professor Robin has already mentioned Derek, who was the first double amputee that we met, Fijian, and he assures me, he will be on the podium in the Paralympics. But we also met Richard, who had lost a leg and talked about his young men, his soldiers that he was so proud of. And he talked about how they had fought their way across open ground to get to him when he was shot. And then they'd given him a mobile phone so he could say goodbye to his wife. And over the last 5 years, we've met people who've become downhill skiers. We've got Arthur, who's going to be a presenter on Channel 4. He's paraplegic. He's taught himself to be a marathon cyclist. We've been able to help him get a pilot's license, but then now he's going to be able to present on television. We've met other guys who have rowed across the Atlantic. Just last week, we were talking to 8 boys who have between them 7 legs, who've just cycled 3,051 miles in 7 days, 7 hours, and 31 minutes across America. We've met some extraordinary people, and in a funny, small way, we've been able to help some of them. We've also met people who haven't achieved great athletic things. And we're very conscious that not everybody is going to be a gladiator. We are making these recovery centres, and we invite inspirational people to come and talk to both us, the staff, and also the injured. And we had a group who have walked to the North Pole with Prince Harry last year, and this year they intended to climb Everest. And I was sitting behind Toby, who's tetraplegic, so he was shot through the neck. And in fact, originally he'd been shot through the shoulder, but he was patched up and he demanded to go back to join his platoon. And then he was shot through the neck, and now he can't do anything below his chin. He's on a ventilator that gives him 12 breaths a minute. So I was sitting behind Toby with his machine puffing away, and I was thinking, how does this sound to Toby? This is a young man who's training to be a stockbroker, and he can bounce an infrared beam off his laptop onto a plastic mouse on his forehead, and he can move his head. But how does it feel to him to have been an active young man and to hear about people who aspire to climb Everest? And I was feeling it. And then they said, we are very conscious that we are lucky, that we can climb, or we can aspire to climb a mountain, that we will attempt Everest. but not everybody can climb Everest. But everybody has got an Everest to climb. So if I think back to the day that we walked into the hospital, I'm a cartoonist, I'm totally unprepared for this. Emma has spent years supporting me in my idiotic ventures. So we were both unprepared for that day, and we are still unprepared today. But when she said, "We've just got to do something," she was right. And I think the last 5 years have told me that if you just try and do something, people will join you. It doesn't matter what it is, and it's not about politics, and it's not about the rights and wrongs of war, and it's not about your creed or your religion or your beliefs. It's about, in my case, a young man and woman, same age as you, who decides to do what they consider to be right. And if they're injured, it's about how we help them get back on their feet and how we launch them forward in a new life. So, for you, this is your day. You are about to start on the greatest adventure of your life. Some of you one day will be professors, others will be captains of industry, others might even be running charities. I just hope that you just do something. You do your best. We heard about the seas. We've heard about the way that we all want to bring out the best in ourselves, to unlock the combination lock that gives us our focus on what we want to do. And I watch war movies sometimes with what we call the blokes, the men and women, and one of them is Saving Private Ryan. And there's a moment when the character, Ryan himself, Tom Hanks, walks through the cemetery at Omaha, which is just ranks and ranks and ranks of gravestones, beautifully aligned. And he walks to the gravestone of the man who saved his life. And he says, "Tell me," to his family, he says, "Tell me, did I live a good life? Did I live a good life?" And I hope that you, me, my family, everybody here, one day when we reflect on our own lives, we can say to ourselves, we just did something, we did our best, and we lived a good life. Congratulations.
Thank you for those wonderful words of wisdom. Thank you for taking us into your world, giving us an insight into what it means. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to honor the men and women who fight to protect us at this very moment. They're laying down their lives, they've lost their limbs, but you have done something to make us realize how much we should appreciate them. And you have given them another chance for them to give to the world. Thank you for being the perfect role model to our students today. We need more people like you in the world, and you have shown them that anything is possible. So it's been my honor and privilege to present both of you with your honorary degree. You are now part of the Exeter family, and we will embrace you always. It's been our pleasure and our honor for you to be here today. Thank you very much.